Hello guys and welcome. My name is Faraz and in today's video we'll pick up from the last video where we left off. So I'll quickly start my Ubuntu. I'll head over to my application. I'll start my MySQL server. And finally I'll start my application. Takes a bit of time for the very first time, but it will come. Alright, server has started. Let's head on over to Chrome and type localhost 3000. Alright, so our application has started. So I missed one thing to discuss yesterday, so I'll pick up on that. So we did create this factorybot.rb file, but we haven't included it anywhere. So our application at present does not know what to do with it. So to include this, all we have to do is head on over to Rails helper and type require relative and the path. So factorybot is present inside a folder called as support. So to work on the present folder, you need to type a dot followed by the forward slash followed by the folder name and finally the file name. Also, we'll change the quotes to use single quotes here so that we are more in line. Alright, once this is done, we'll restart our application once again. And refresh it. So nothing's breaking, everything is working fine. So with that, we have successfully installed RSpec and factorybot in our application. We have successfully debugged our very few first errors that were MySQL ones. And now we are ready to go ahead with the next thing. So I'll exit out of my server. I'll go to Pivotal Tracker. I'll open my application. So install RSpec was done. We'll deliver and we'll accept. The next thing in our application is to generate the blog model. So we'll do that now. I'll click start. So the way an MVC project works is there are three layers. There is first layer called as model, the second layer is called as view, and the third layer is called as controller. So anything and everything pertaining to database like the details of blog, the title and description and everything, they are stored in models. So to generate our very first blog model, all you need to do is type Rails G, the model name that is blog, and its attributes. So a blog will have a title and it will have a description. Now the description can vary in length, but the title can stay within a length of say 256 characters. So to allow description to have an infinite number of characters, we need to specify its data type to be text, and we'll press enter. Let's see what happens. All right, so we made a mistake here. We wanted to generate a model, so we have to tell Rails to do so. All right, so it appears that our project name is blog and we cannot have a model with the same name. So let's change it to something else. So let me rename blog to article. Awesome. So we have now successfully been able to generate our article model, and we see what it has done is it has created an active record. It has created a migration called as create articles. It has created our model, and in our spec it has added few specs for me. So there is a spec for article, and inside the factory bot it has generated a spec factories article.rb. So let's quickly go on ahead to our code and see what happened. So I'll close out of these changes, and let's see what has happened. So we have a model called as in our spec we have got something called as model, and there is an article spec. Inside factories we have got something called as articles. So now what it is doing is whenever we want to test our application, FactoryBot will go ahead and generate an article for me. All I need to do is call it, and it will create an in-memory article object that with the title of my string and the description my text. Isn't it awesome? It was able to judge it by itself based on the data type. The next thing that was generated was in the app directory, we got something in the models called as an article.rb. Now it is inheriting from application record, and application record is and it's inheriting itself from active record. All right, so what does this mean for us? So this means that we have a model, and that model must have a corresponding entry in its database. So do we create this table in our database? Absolutely not. Rails has taken care of it for us. So inside DB there is something called as migrate, and we see that there is something called as a create articles. So what it is doing is it is inheriting from active record migrations, and it has a method called as change, wherein it is trying to create the table, and it is trying to set its attributes called as title and description, and it is also trying to generate something called as timestamps. So I expect my table to have at least two columns, title and description, and let's figure out what this timestamps is. So in order to have this working, we need to run this migration. To do that, all you need to do is type Rails db migrate and press enter. All right, so we see that we have successfully created a table and something has got migrated. So all this is in the CLI language. So what does this mean for us as a user? So let's quickly jump on to our MySQL workbench and see for ourselves what has happened. All right, our MySQL workbench has logged in. I had already created a connection to connect to my database using the Rails credentials, so I'll double click on this. It is asking me for my password. Now my password, if you remember, was password, so I'll put it there. I also click save it in Vault so that I don't have to put it again and again. Alright, so I had some test queries here. I'll get rid of them. So let's see what happened. So I'll quickly type show databases and I'll press Control Enter to see the list of databases in our application. So we see that we have two new databases called as Blog Development and Blog Test. So let's quickly jump into one of the databases. So I'll type use blog development and I'll press enter. So I'm currently using blog development, and now I'll try to see what all tables are there. So I'll type show tables and semicolon and run it. Alright, so we see that there is a table called as articles that has been created. So let's see its data structure. All right, awesome. So we see that we have created a article table with a title that is a varchar 255 and a description that is of text, and something that I had not specified was ID, but it went ahead and created it for me with an auto increment. And also there is something called as a created at and updated at. So this is something peculiar. So let's head on back to our MySQL, and we see that it is peculiar because we had entered t.timestamps, and what we had got was created at and updated at. So the timestamps method is generating these two data types, that is created at and updated at. It also generated its primary key as ID. So in Rails, every table has its own primary key, and Rails takes care of it by generating the ID column for it. So columns like ID are reserved. All right, so let's quickly run our application in our console mode and see for ourselves what it looks like in the Rails perspective. To run the application in console mode, all you need to do is type Rails C and press enter. So we have logged into the console, and to see this article model, all you need to type is article. So since it's the very first time we are doing it, so we need to type article dot connection. We are connected, and now if I press article, we see that the Rails is giving me the syntax of it in a much more simpler format for me to understand. So how do we create an article? It's very simple. All you need to do is type article dot create, and only the things that I want to create. Like I just want to give it the title, and I just want to give it the description. So I'll give it the title as uh, first, and the description as, let's say, first description, and press enter, and let's see what happens. All right, so we see that Rails automatically ran this insert query, and it inserted something for us. So we had specified title and description, but it went ahead and inserted the created at and updated at by itself. And it is the current time. All right. So let's see how does it look in our MySQL workbench. So to see what was inserted, we just need to type select star from articles, and we run it. Well, isn't it awesome? We have our very first record in our MySQL database that was generated from our Rails application. If you have made it this far, congratulations, and I'm really proud of you. I'll see you guys in the next lecture, but before that, we need to do something in our GitHub. So I'll quickly log into my GitHub desktop, and I'll go over the changes that I had made. There's quite a few changes that we did make. So there is something, these are the changes that we had generated. So we generated an article model, we modified our database.yml, we modified our gemfile.log, and all these things were created. So we have to think of a very good message that we want to attach with this commit. So install rspec and generated the model. I don't really want to put something in the description. The title will do it for the time being. So I'll click commit to master. So it is now committed to my local repository. All I need to do is push it to my github.com by clicking push origin. And we're done. Let's go ahead to Google Chrome and see it for ourselves how our repository looks in the current space. So I'll quickly go to github.com. I'll open my project, and look, this is the new commit message that has appeared. Install RSpec. And to see what I have made changes in this commit is all I need to do is click on this link, and it will show me all the things that I have done. And isn't it good? Not just good, it's awesome. With this, I can actually see the changes that I have made. So in a way, if I screw up something, I know exactly what I have to do is just to roll back one level and my application will keep running. So that's all I had for this video. I'll go ahead to Pivotal Tracker, and I'll click finish on the create blog model. I'll deliver it and I'll accept it. Great work there, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.